Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks, Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another con recap video, and today we are talking about Origins, which I just got back from. And I'm going to break this into three different parts. I'm going to start out with just kind of an overall reflection on the con, then I'm going to go into I've ranked the 18 full games that I played, or almost full games, or a couple that got stopped early, but if I felt like I'd gotten through 75% or so of the game, then I included it on the list. And then I'm going to leave you with the 5 things that I left most excited about from the con. And there's kind of a broad variety of things there. Now, I'm going to start with talking about the con itself. So I had to break this down into 2 parts. Overall fun? Yes, I had a very good time. Period. The food nearby was easy to get to, wasn't hard to manage, wasn't hard to navigate, there wasn't a big crush of people, though there was certainly plenty of people there. All that I thought was great, and I would highly recommend going to Origins based on that. However, when it comes to the way the con is run, it was a joke this year. I don't like to come off as negative and mean. I really don't. But it was just a joke. It was so poorly organized. I will start with, I'm just going to kind of give you the highlight tour of this. First off, Origins has decided that they don't believe anymore in media in the way that the rest of all the conventions do. So the only people that were really considered as media were if you had a TV show or you wrote for a newspaper or magazine, which we all know is not where board game media is. Now, to be clear, I do not mind paying for a ticket. And they did offer a discount for all of the actual media who covers board games. It's not fair. I'm sure there's some TV shows or newscasts or whatever that do it, but for the most part, you know what I mean. But it just seemed like a cash grab. That's what it seemed like to me. And so, like I said, I don't mind paying for a ticket. I truly don't. Set something up that says 20,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, or whatever. Do it on a case-by-case basis. I'm okay with all of that, truly. For an organization that claims that they're here for media now also, you can become a Gamma member as media, they show an amazing lack of understanding of what the board game media is. And I did not attend Origins on a media pass of any way, shape, or form. I actually attended with a Game Master badge through a publisher that I've worked with in the past. So that's actually how I attended. So it didn't actually affect me one way or the other. So that's my smallest actual issue with the way it was run. The next thing I'll say is they had a program for the very important gamer that you can do. And as near as I can tell, it's a more expensive ticket and it gets you a swag bag and a lounge and early access. And I did not hear a single person who had the very important gamer tickets who was remotely happy with the way it was run. Apparently the swag bags were a joke. The lounge was way far away, so you're walking a quarter mile to get to the lounge, although apparently they did move that. It just was very, very poorly run. There's all these events, apparently, that they didn't know where they were going to be until the last minute. Speaking of events being poorly put together, they had the Origins Awards. I had a friend who was up for one of them, and they moved the event at the last minute, and people didn't know. It just was thing after thing after thing that it was just poorly managed. Then the second to last thing I'm going to say, as you think, I'm railing on about this, and it's a shame because I actually had a very good time. I had fun, but it could have been brilliant, but it's just one thing after the next. It just wasn't done right. Nobody seemed to know what the rules were for anybody. I went to somebody and I asked, okay, I have this badge. When am I allowed into the hall? They told me. I said, okay, great. One day, perfect. Next day I went and they said, no, you can't go in. I was like, well, they just told me that I could go in. No, you can't go in. So I said, okay. I walked to another door. I asked somebody there. They said, oh, yeah, you can come in right now. And it was just like this over and over again. Nobody seemed to know what was actually supposed to be going on. And I don't blame the people that let me in or didn't let me in and let other people in, whatever. I blame Gamma for not training their people. Get the information out there. Not hard. Really not hard. And finally, I'll end with this. You will always hear rumblings on occasion from publishers and exhibitors and things about, I'm frustrated with the organization. I have never heard more publishers talk about how frustrating their experience at Origins was ever before. There were publishers that I just met that day at the convention, and I asked, how's it going for you? And they said, well, it's mostly going well, but we're really frustrated with Gamma. So I tell you all of this because it's really sad to me. Because Origins should be right up there with Gen Con as one of the top conventions, period. Because it was fun, the location is good, it's not that expensive to be there, and they just are running things in a way that I do not understand. I don't get it. Now, that's the bad part of this video. We're washing that away, and now we're starting with all the stuff that was fun. Because again, 90% of my experience was really good this year. The 10% was ridiculous. So starting with the games that I played almost completely. I'm going to go from 18 up to number 1. And I'm ranking these based on how much fun did I have. And it doesn't mean that number 1 is the best game on the list. It doesn't mean that 18 is the worst game on the list. It just means this is how much fun that I had. And I will say that there's only 2 of them on there that I don't think I would play again. All the rest I would happily play again. So we'll start with number 18, and that is Helsinki. And it just didn't work for me. It's this polyomino laying game and kind of like card drafting, and it does some interesting stuff, but it's so simple that for me, I didn't need to be playing, at least not as long as I did. And we almost finished the game before somebody had to leave. And I just was not interested in playing anymore after about halfway through the game. I figured, okay, I got this, I figured it out, and if the game was ending now, that'd be cool. So that one just didn't really work for me. Number 17 was Epic the Card Game. And I knew this one probably wouldn't be tops for me, because I just don't really like card battlers in general in the vein of like Magic the Gathering. It's not Magic the Gathering, but it's that style of thing. Summoning monsters and they're attacking. They have attack and defense. And you beat your monsters into their monsters and all that. And the core of this game does something that I actually think is very interesting. How when someone's attacking, you can start playing all these reaction cards and react back and forth. And it's really interesting how that works. But to me, I just felt like it was just going on so long because you would, try to end your turn. But no, they're going to play a card. So they played a card. Okay, now I'm going to try to end my turn. And I wasn't feeling that one. I wasn't feeling that. People love the game. It just wasn't for me. Then we have number 16. This is a game that I've played a lot. It's called The Game, Face to Face. I played this with Don from the Secret Cabal a couple times because we had a little bit of time left after we played a game before his buddies were done with their game. And this is just a straight up numbers game, and it's a really good head-to-head game. It's a very small box. Keep it in your backpack, whatever. Great. Love that I have that. Number 15 is Astra. And this is from Mind Clash Games. And this one I'm very intrigued by. To me, this is a heavier blank and write game. To me, I call this a Euro and write because it's like resource management and writing. And it's very, very interesting to me. And I got to play this with Bernie from Dead Alive Games almost all the way through. We played head-to-head, and I think this game is actually best when played 3 or more. But the most memorable thing about this is we're playing, and the end-game condition to Astra is somewhere in the middle of the deck. There's a card that will say the end. When that card comes up, the game will end. And so we're sitting there. And then a guy who was staying with us, a really good designer, if you don't know his work, you should check it out, Tate Wu. He walks over, he sits down, and now Tate has, 20 published designs. He knows games as well as anybody in the world. He sits down, he picks up the deck with the in-game card in it and just starts shuffling it. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, they're good. These cards feel good to shuffle. And so we had to stop the game there. I'm actually really looking forward to playing more of Astra. Number 14 is Tome. And this is an interesting trick-taking game that really does something cool in that every single card that you play has a different power and can change the board state. And you have the ability to not follow the lead suit, but if you do that, you're going to not get the power that you have, though people after you will get to play anything they want and still get the power. And it's modular in that you can put in different suits based on what it is that you want to do. So it's a very, very interesting game. And I'm really looking forward to kind of digging more into that. I haven't played it nearly enough to really form a full opinion on it, but I'm still very interested in it. 13 is Omicron Protocol. I've talked about this game a lot. We had a grudge match between Bernie, myself, and then the guys from Level Up Board Game Podcast, where I went in being positive we were going to crush them, and we wound up losing. But I did get to play a scenario I'd never played before. It's one that's really like you're rushing to get off the map, and it's very, very different from a lot of the other ones. Very, very cool. And this one actually falls a little lower than I thought it would. Not because we lost, But there was just a lot of distractions. There was a really nice guy who came and sat down and was talking to us for a while, but it meant that I was talking to him. I wasn't able to actually play the game as much as I wanted to be as focused as I wanted to be. But very good game, good time. Number 12 is Res Arcana. Now, I'd never played this before, but Don from the Secret Cabal talks about this is his favorite game of all time. And he had it, so we busted it out, we played it, and I tell you what, that's a fun game. I'm really intrigued by it. I was very bad at it. It took me a while to figure out what I was doing. By the time I figured out what I was actually doing, it was kind of too late to be any kind of a threat. But it is a really cool game, one that I'm hoping to play again sometime, hopefully soon. Number 11 is another one that I've talked about a lot. That is Wizards of the Grimoire. I played that with a couple of people, and everybody I played it with at the con promptly went right over to the booth the next day, and they bought themselves a copy. This is the kind of card battler I'm talking about. Fantastic card battler. Always love it. Number 9 is Elder Scrolls from Chip Theory Games. And it's still early on in development, and a lot of prototype pieces. The pictures you see here are prototype stuff, and they're definitely changing. But I had a great time playing this. I got to go and play with Andrew Santoro from Chip Theory, and we had a blast playing this game. I would like to tell you that I know what it's going to be and give you a full review of it, but I can't. It's so big. It is such a big game. But the little that I played, I had a very, very good time with. Next one is one that I've wanted to play for a long time, and I keep putting off actually buying it, but I put it on my Secret Santa list every year, and that is Baseball Highlights. And I didn't get to finish this fully because we got kicked out of the room that we were in. But what a cool game. Oh my gosh. What a fantastic head-to-head game, and it's quick, way quicker than I thought it was going to be, and the way you're managing your deck, it's not really a deck builder because anytime you bring something in, you got to throw something out. Fascinating the way it works, the way the cards work, where you play a card that plays a defensive card and then also is a hit. It's a very cool game that I definitely want to play more of. Number 7 is from Chip Theory Games. I got to also play it in the demo, and actually I stayed almost an extra hour playing this, and that is 20 Strong. I got to try 2 of the decks, the new Space Age deck they have, and the Too Many Bones deck, and that's a really cool solo game. It is a very cool game. I didn't understand it when the campaign initially launched. I just didn't get it, so I didn't get it, and now I wish that I got it. Well, it hasn't delivered yet, but you know what I mean. It's a very, very cool game. I'm definitely intrigued by it. It was very hard, very clever, and a lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting a hold of some 20 Strong when I have a chance. Number 6 at the con, I told people, is the only game that matters, and that is Gnome Hollow. Now, if you are not in the know, then you might not have heard of this. But this is a game that publishers are fighting over this game. I don't know if they're really getting back alley brawls, but I can only assume that they are. And the number of different publishers that are excited about this game is insane. And this is a game where you're gnomes and you're building little mushroom gardens, you're harvesting mushrooms and you're selling mushrooms, and it's tile laying, and it's very, very cute. It's not a heavy game, but it has ways that it can kind of ramp up its difficulty and complexity as you go. And it's an exciting game. And it was really pleasant and really fun. I hope I get to play it at some point in the future, whenever it is that it comes out, be it Kickstarter, retail release. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's a reason why people are really excited about this game. This could be the next Wingspan, if it catches, right? It's hard to be the next Wingspan when something that catches that kind of fire, but that's the vibe of the game. It's in that world. Number 5 is Coloma New Prospects, and I actually played this a couple of times, and I love Coloma. I've talked about I love Coloma. I designed the solo mode for this new version, which makes me very, very biased, but I designed it because I loved it to begin with, and I was lucky enough that it works and it got picked up. This game, I love Coloma. The new expansion takes what is a really good game and makes it fantastic. It plays really well at high player counts. It's just such a wonderful game. I played it a couple of times, and the only reason it's actually all the way down at number 5 is because I was teaching the game and being the only one at the entire convention that had a copy of this prototype. I had to teach it and make sure I wasn't messing up the rules. So there's a little bit of stress that was involved in that. But number 5, Coloma. Number 4 is one that Don from the Secret Cabal has been talking about on the podcast forever. And this is why all the games I've mentioned Don in were ones that we played on the same day. And this game is so much hegemony. Lead your class to victory. And it's like this, it's farcical but realistic, and every faction, be you the capitalist class, the working class, the state, whatever, it's really, really asymmetric. It's this card selection action that you're doing, and it's just, I cannot explain it because there's so much going on. But I am so intrigued by this game, and I desperately want to play it again sometime. And I'm going to try to see if I can get myself a copy, because it's just fascinating. Now, it's a lot. When I tell you it's a lot, it was an hour for us just to learn the game. And it took us, I don't know, 3 hours to play. And I think if you really knew what you were doing and you were playing head-to-head, you could probably get that down to 90 minutes. But there's not a lot of games that are running 3 hours that I actually want to play again, and this is one of them. It's a fascinating game. I really hope I get to play it again sometime. Number 3 is a homer pick, Lunar Rush. I actually got to sit down and play because there was a space open at the demo that they were running, and I got to play with what is almost a deluxe version of the game. It's not quite there. They have sample cards, like the foiled cards, and some of the colors aren't quite right because it's still a sample, but it's almost there. Oh, I had such a good time with it. It was really fun. I got 3rd or 4th place because I was playing with like the challenge cards, because a bunch of people who hadn't played before. I was playing with a challenge card, and I was like, I'm gonna make it even more challenging because I've never been able to do this one thing in the game, and I don't think it's actually a good idea to do this one thing, but I'm gonna do it anyway so I can see what happened. And what happened is I lost. But I really had a good time with it. It really is a clean, good game. I'm really excited that's coming out. I had such a good time playing Lunar Rush. Number 2 is Scram. And this is a game that's from Bezier Games. It's just a small deck of cards, and you're trying to get animals out of your campsite. And the art's really cute. And it's a game that I'm not even going to explain it to you. And the reason I'm not going to explain the game to you is because you have to experience it. And there are similarities to another Bezier Games game called Silver, I'm told. But the thing with it is, when it was explained to me, I thought, this is dumb. This is not going to be fun. But here I am, so let's do this. And it's a blast. I played it 3 times while I was at the con. 3 different times. I did an early demo in the morning, then I came back later with more people, and we all played. Then I came back, and in the evening I hung out with Alex Radcliffe and Professor Meg and Andrew from Chip Theory Games. I said, I have this right here. Let's play. It's a really cool, fun game. Scram. Just trust me. It's like a $10 game. Go for it. Then my number 1 was the very first game that I played at Origins proper. I played a couple games over in the hotel prior to kind of the gaming area opening, but the first demo that I did was, and I don't know how to say it, Rahawa, maybe, I don't know, Rahawa. I have no idea, and I'm confident that it's all made up, so I don't feel bad by just telling you that the name means nothing. I don't know what it is. This is a game that it's the follow-up from the remaining designers, the team behind Davalier. And you are placing cards or tiles on your board, and each one has a different power. And they're either going to give you points, they're going to let you put out what's called a spore, which means you'll be able to activate the card on other times, or it's going to give you crystals, which are how you buy things. And you're going to draft a card, you're going to put it down, and you're going to fire off a row or a column of all the abilities of the card in whatever order you want. You're going to take a stack from the other side of you, where someone else has already drafted from, you'll draft another card, and you're just going to move all the way around, firing off different rows and columns every time you go. This game is great. It is fantastic. I loved it so much that the first thing I did when I was able to get into the hall, and I was able to get in early on Friday, is I went straight to Hachette Games and I bought a copy. And I don't think they sold out, but they certainly sold a lot of them, and it's a fantastic game. I had a blast with it. And I had to put a quick honorable mention in here because I didn't record it, the game that I played, in my app, and I just forgot to do it, and then I left it out, and just before I'm wrapping up this video I remembered. So honorable mention goes to a game called Not So Neighborly. I don't know exactly where it would fall on the list, so somewhere in the middle is where it would have fallen. This is a party game that I checked out, and I don't usually like party games, but this one's very, very clever. The art is super cute and adorable, and in this game, you're just being bad neighbors, and you're building stuff up in your neighborhood, and you're burning down their things, and getting things demolished and stealing people's stuff. Like it's a mean party game, but it's very, very quick, and it's just very, very clever. Super cute. And so an honorable mention for them there, Not So Neighborly. If I was into party games and I was the type that covered a lot of party games, I would have been begging them for a copy. It's a very fun little party game. So that is my list of all the games I played. Like I said, I had fun with all of these. 18 and 17 really weren't for me, but other people I played with really enjoyed it, so they're not bad games. They're just not for me. But all those other games, I would happily play again, and I'm looking forward to playing again. Now I'm going to end with the 5 things that I am most excited about coming out of Origins. And I am going to give these to you alphabetically. So there's not one more than the other, it's just alphabetical list. So I'm going to start out with number 1, that is Catharsis. And I've talked about Catharsis. Catharsis is a game that is not a perfect game by any means. It's got its warts, but it's very, very fun. It's this dice placement adventure in a deck of cards game. Cards are huge. We have all these different abilities, all these different characters. And they have some new smaller box versions coming. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to just get more of it. I haven't even played all of it. There's so many different versions that you can do. But so I'm really excited for Catharsis. So there's the first one. The next one is a game called Galactic Cruise. Now I got a half-hour demo, 45-minute demo of this. And that involved me kind of learning the game and playing like a turn or two. And this is an exceedingly complex game where basically you are running a space tourism company, and you're sending people off on rockets, and they're flying around to Saturn and the moon and all these kinds of things. And it really has like a Lacerda vibe to the game, but Lacerda light. And so it reminds me a bit of Johnny Pack style games, where you do have a lot of different things going on sometimes. But each of those different things, one, they all interact very well. They go together very well, just like Lacerdas do. They all go together very well. But the difference is, in the Lacerda game, each of those things will be, A, B, C, D. Whereas in Galactic Cruise and Johnny Pack games, or Lacerda Light style games, you're going to get all these things that work together, and they'll be, A, B on each one. So there's simpler mechanisms that come together and mesh together. This is one of those games that does that. I'm really excited actually to play a full game at some point. When that'll happen, I don't know. Number 3 is one that I can give you the least information on. All I will say is, it is a game that's coming from Mind Clash. They've referenced it in their newsletters, and I believe the code phrase has been Leaf. I don't know what it's actually going to be called. I'm not allowed to tell you anything about it. But man, I am so excited for this game. I practically begged the rep at Mind Clash to let me cover this game. I am so excited for it, and I am so setting myself up for the ultimate disappointment. But right now, let me tell you, I'm so excited for this game. So that's my number 3. Number 4 is a game called Sirens. This is a small box game. It's a drafting game, and you're drafting cards, and you're going to place them down, and you're making a song. And so you're making a song, and you are sirens, pulling the sailors off the boat with your song. And there's various ways that the songs will score. They have good flow, certain symbols matching up, a drafting game, kind of building a tableau. But what has me excited about it is the gimmick that comes with it. And yes, it's a gimmick, but I love it. There is an app that's going to come with the game. And the app is not done yet, but you take a picture of your song at the end, and it will play your song for you. Right? Like, that is crazy. Now, when the designer told me this, I won't lie, I was thinking bullshit. Bull and... But then he showed me. And it's still in development. It was a bug. You kind of moved some of the cards around a little bit, but it legit works. I'm so excited for it. The game is fun. I played like one round of it. It's a fun little game. I'm excited to see it again, but the gimmick behind it is amazeballs. And I want it. I need it in my life right now. And then number 5 on the list is Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay. Nope, not true. Wander, LeCluck's Revenge, the follow-up to Barnacle Bay. I just got to do the demo mission one more time. There was nobody there, so I walked over and played it. And I've played it a couple times, this demo mission at conventions, and it's everything that I love about Barnacle Bay with a little bit more added on. And it's fun, it's silly, it's delightful, and it's just such a good dungeon crawler. And so that is the last thing I'm leaving very, very excited about. Hopefully I'll have my copy before the end of summer next year. Not quite sure. So there you have it, folks. That is Origins 2023. I know I came off very strong at the beginning, very harsh, and I stand by it. Gamma, do better. Do better. But overall, the vast majority of my time was fantastic. Great publishers, great exhibitors, great media. Everything there, other than those things I mentioned at the beginning, was fantastic. And I'm looking forward to whatever the next convention I go to is. So, as always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.